Happening now, we tell you the new plan to crack down on COVID-19 as we head into the winter season. Plus, today is Giving Tuesday. We check in with a local organization who is highlighting those who give back every day.
And the snow is falling out there early this afternoon, and it's going to continue today, tonight, and tomorrow. We'll talk about it in detail next. The News at Noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. New York State's new plan to combat COVID-19 during the winter season focuses on 5 main points that will strengthen the state's microcluster crackdown and help hospitals deal with a surge in activity. Governor Andrew Cuomo announced the strategy yesterday. He says that with more than 3,500 people now hospitalized statewide for COVID and more cases are expected in the coming weeks, hospitals must draw up plans to redistribute patients both within their healthcare networks and between networks so that no one hospital becomes overwhelmed, as happened when the pandemic first started in the spring. Well, the figure is up from 900 people hospitalized in late June, Cuomo says, and cases will only rise as New Yorkers gather to celebrate the holidays.
In the new battlefield, hospital capacity is the top concern, period. It's about hospital beds, it's about ICU, and it's about having enough staff and enough equipment. That is the effect, and that's what we're going to have to deal with.
Now, much of the focus over the past several months has been on containing the virus through restrictions at bars, restaurants, and other businesses, but Cuomo says data from contact tracing shows that 65% of infections are now coming from small gatherings. He says New Yorkers should be responsible and not host gatherings over the holiday, since law enforcement can't monitor everyone's home. Depending on how bad the situation in New York State gets, the governor also says it's possible that we could return to New York on pause, where non-essential businesses are shut down. A full rundown of the plan posted right now at WNYNewsNow.com and on our mobile app. Well, the United States set a grim record yesterday with more than 96,000 hospitalizations due to COVID. Health officials are expecting cases to skyrocket after the travel we saw over Thanksgiving. But there is promising progress on the vaccine front. Our John Lawrence takes a look.
A new chapter in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic may soon start.
We're just the beginning. It's great news, but let's make the best of a good story.
Drug maker Moderna applied to the Food and Drug Administration for authorization of its vaccine, which the company says is 94.5% effective in all cases and 100% effective in preventing severe cases of the virus.
10 years of work, several $1 billion of investment have gone into putting us in a position to be relevant in this important time.
Drug maker Pfizer applied for authorization for its vaccine November 20th. If both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines get emergency approval, 40 million doses could be available by the end of this month, as long as there aren't any major setbacks. And there are still some unanswered questions.
How long it lasts, for example. What are the long-term side effects, for example?
The FDA's advisory committee is meeting this month to review the 2 applications. It'll be months before the vaccines are widely available, and health officials are still urging Americans to wear masks and keep physical distance. Dr. Anthony Fauci talking to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg on Monday.
Help is on the way, but it's not here yet. So we can do these things, and we can prevent an even further escalation.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
John, thank you. The director of Operation Warp Speed says he expects 100% of Americans that want the vaccine will have had the vaccine by June of next year. Well, 2 of the most controversial items included in Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist's 2021 budget were revised by the City Council during its November voting session last night. This first involved an increase in parking violation fines for parking meters, meter feeding, and overtime in zone violations. The council voted 7-2 to keep the fine amount the same, with Ward 6 Councilman Tom Nelson and Councilman at Large Jeff Russell dissenting. Another item involved the proposal to increase the cost of street parking in metered spots downtown. The council voted unanimously to keep the cost the same. Now, both parking proposals were first discussed in October by Sundquist, but were immediately met with hesitation and some disapproval amid the uncertainty and hardship of the COVID-19 pandemic. The council additionally approved to include a zero tax increase for the next year. In a different motion, they moved to keep the health insurance rates for retirees the same, with Ward 5 Councilman Grant Olson casting the sole no vote. Well, a local group devoted to helping those in need is celebrating Giving Tuesday today by highlighting the people who help make their mission possible. Community Helping Hands is running an online campaign featuring the voices of their clients, staff, board members, and volunteers alike. They kicked off the series by speaking with Jamestown's mayor on Facebook Live this morning. In addition to the online showcase, the group's board of directors president, Katie Castro, is also asking the community to unleash their generosity by donating anything from clothing to furniture to funding in an effort to help their cause.
If you're watching this, we know right now that social media is one of the most powerful vehicles of communication that we have, right? And of awareness. And in a time where everything's digital, this is the most powerful tool we have. So the first thing I would ask is share this. Share any other nonprofit pages that are fundraising for Giving Tuesday today. That's the first. The second is, of course, give. We're asking you to give. That's what this day is about. The third is volunteer. So even in these times of social distancing, most nonprofit organizations have found a way to create safe volunteering situations for those who are up for it.
Now, Community Helping Hands was established in 2001 and is located at the Gateway Center on Water Street here in Jamestown. They provide emergency assistance to local families in need of things like clothing and household items. The group also operates a workforce development program to help community members work towards self-sufficiency. Well, we thank you for joining us here on this Giving Tuesday. Hopefully you can give back in some positive way. Let's check in with the comments and say hello to Jared. Good to see Dina, Ray, Willie, Edna, Narda. Thanks so much for joining us today. Great to see Jamie, Nikki, Dan, Crystal, Joseph, and Alex. Good afternoon to all of you. We appreciate you checking in with us for a look at some local news and weather. And weather is one of the big items on everybody's mind today. Let's get to Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter, who's been busy in the First Defense Weather Center, tracking this winter storm that is just starting to move across the area now, Dakota.
Yes, indeed. And happy Tuesday, everybody. And boy, the snow is coming in pretty much on schedule, but it's been light so far. We've been spared so far, but don't let your guard down. Some heavier snow is going to be on the way. You can see the snow falling here in Salamanca, and this is the camera that's on top of the Seneca Allegheny Casino. And so the snow has been falling. I'll show you the radar here. So it's been kind of broken apart a little bit because we have a little bit of wind shear coming in off Lake Erie, and the Lake Erie wind shear is helping to tear some of this apart a little bit. So it's not a steady state, but it's still going to be coming down, and it's still a little bit on the light side, but we're going to see the uptick in snow coming later today, tonight, and then through early tomorrow. But one of the things that's interesting is as we widen out the view, notice how everything is moving in a counterclockwise circle. I'll tell you why a little bit later on. It's really cool, but this is a cool radar image. It's almost like hypnotizing. I have you in my trance. Okay, let's take a look at the snow data at the airport. We've measured a trace of snow so far today, trace for the month, and we're down 6.7 inches for the season. I think we're going to make that up here. 41 was the high yesterday, 30 is where we started today, 68 and 10 below zero are the record. Through the afternoon, the snow showers are going to continue, moderate to heavy pockets at times. Added lake effect snow later in the day, additional accumulations about 1 inch on the lower terrain, going to 3 to 7 inches on the hills, and breezy 30 to 37 with a west wind 10 to 20 miles per hour. The snow is going to continue tonight and early tomorrow. We'll talk about the snow totals along with that 7-day forecast in just a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, looking forward to that. Thank you. Well, speaking of the snow, AAA is partnering with the New York State Police to remind drivers of the important safety tips and precautions ahead of today's snowstorm. Motorists traveling in areas heavily impacted by snow are recommended to leave with a little extra time so that you can drive carefully to your destination. Now, once at the car, drivers should clean and fully remove any snow and ice before getting behind the wheel. They also say it's important to have a full tank of gas just in case you get stuck somewhere. Now, when on the roads, be sure to brake early in order to give enough time for your vehicle to stop if it starts to slide. Police also say be on the lookout for events farther down the road, like crashes. Now, if you are involved in a collision, police say it's important to stay in your vehicle and be sure to call 911. Roll down your windows a few inches or turn your vehicle off if you're stranded in the snow for a long period of time, because they say if your muffler becomes covered, it can cause some serious injuries or even death if you inhale carbon monoxide. Well, by the end of the year, a state wage board is expected to put together recommendations on overtime pay for farm workers across New York. But ahead of those recommendations being made, several farm groups are advocating for the overtime threshold to remain at 60 hours. New York State Capitol correspondent Karina Capabianca talks to farmers about what's at stake here.
Kirsty Northrup is a fourth-generation farm owner. At Lawnell Farms in Livingston County, her team crops about 3,400 acres and milks 1,800 cows. This year, since the Farm Laborers Fair Practices Act went into effect, requiring farm workers to get paid overtime after working 60 hours per week, or if they work on their day off, Northrup's farm is paying 50 hours of overtime pay a week. Advocates of the law say it benefits farm workers and gives them more protections, but farm owners say if the overtime threshold is reduced further, it will hurt family businesses.
If the new labor law changes and the threshold goes to 50 hours a week, we would pay about roughly 150 hours of overtime in a week if our schedule did not change. And if the threshold got lowered to 40 hours a week, we would be paying 330 hours of overtime in a week without scheduling changes.
Northrup says the pandemic has been especially difficult on farms. As a member of the Northeast Dairy Producers Association, she's gotten behind a letter signed onto by several other farm groups asking the governor's office to keep the overtime threshold at 60 hours. Northrup says weather also presents challenges.
We're not like California. We can't harvest our crops 12 months out of the year. We don't have that luxury in New York State.
The Wage Board's recommendations are due by December 31st. After that, the Labor Commissioner has 45 days to take action on them. In Albany, Karina Capabianca.
Karina, thank you. Now, we asked the Department of Labor if the commission had any comment on the letter and if the Wage Board is on track to make recommendations by the end of the year. In a statement, a spokesman says, as required by state law, the Farm Labor's Wage Board has held a series of hearings and is continuing its work to evaluate the overtime threshold for farm laborers. It would be premature and inappropriate to comment before their final report is issued. Well, straight ahead here, more from last night's city council meeting where the town's next police chief was sworn in. And later, the need for blood is growing, and now the American Red Cross needs your help. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues on this snowy start to December.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Want weather now? Download the WNY News Now mobile app and stay up to date on severe weather alerts. Plus, anytime hazardous weather strikes, stick with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network that keeps you safe. You're all in a tornado warning, so now is the time to go to a safe place, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. What are you waiting for? Download the WNY News Now mobile app today. It's free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. Jamestown City Council has confirmed Timothy Jackson as the city's next police chief. Mayor Eddie Sundquist previously appointed Jackson to acting chief following former police chief Harry Snelling's retirement back in July. Sundquist announced earlier this month Jackson as his full-time choice for the job. Now, last night, the council voted unanimously approving the appointment. Now, following the vote, Jackson was sworn in.
Someone that has not only been acting for 5 months and really doing an incredible job trying to bring together a police reform initiative, as well as someone that has a really incredible past, an incredible history. Proudly serving our nation in the military, a member of our police force, even as he once jokes that he was once laid off and brought back, and he continued to stay with the city. I don't think he thought this moment would have come, but he did. He's also teaches our young officers in the academy, and someone that I've got to know to be a real advocate for the community, someone who's willing to drop anything to meet with community groups and to really talk about the issues at hand and work towards a solution.
That's Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist speaking at the meeting. Jackson has served in the police department since May 2000. He's scheduled to join us tomorrow right here on the show to talk more about his plan to run the city's PD. A new bishop has been named to the head of the Catholic Diocese of Buffalo. The diocese announced this morning that Michael William Fisher has been appointed by Pope Francis. Fisher, who will become the 15th bishop of the Diocese of Buffalo, says he's deeply humbled and grateful to the Holy Father for this gift to serve the people of Buffalo as their bishop. Fisher is a 62-year-old and a native of Baltimore. He previously served as the auxiliary bishop for the Archdiocese of Washington and a chaplain to Pope John Paul II. Now, following the controversial exit of former Bishop Richard Malone, Albany Bishop Edward Scharfenberger was serving as the apostle administrator for the diocese. His installation will take place on January 15th in the Cathedral of St. Joseph in Buffalo. Well, President-elect Joe Biden is promising to put the economy back on track as he announced his picks for a future economic team. As Jeffrey Zeleny reports, many of his nominees are women who will make history if confirmed.
For the first time since winning the election, Joe Biden receiving the president's daily brief today, the one-of-a-kind collection of classified intelligence and security threats facing the U.S. For Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, who also received the briefing, it's the biggest milestone yet on their way to the White House. President Trump finally signed off on the move last week, despite repeatedly refusing to concede defeat.
We're going to build an economy that leads the world.
It comes as Biden today continues filling out his cabinet, surrounding himself with history-making picks. Former Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen, who would be the first woman to serve as Treasury Secretary. Cecilia Rouse, a Princeton economist and veteran of the Clinton and Obama administration, as the first woman of color to lead the Council of Economic Advisors. And Neera Tanden, the first woman of color and South Asian to run the Office of Management and Budget. Biden also announcing his White House communications operation, and for the first time with women in each of the senior roles. Press Secretary Jen Psaki, Communications Director Kate Bedingfield, Senior Advisor and Chief Spokesperson for the Vice President Simone Sanders, All are among the women leading the team.
Hi, everyone.
Psaki, a veteran of the Obama administration, is already overseeing confirmation of Biden's nominees in the Senate, which for now is controlled by Republicans.
We don't need a fabricated crisis in the Senate, and I don't think that the American people are going to tolerate that if there's a refusal to move forward with qualified nominees.
While there is only one president at a time, sharing the document known as the PDB with Biden underscores how Trump's time in power is drawing to a close. While hardly a stranger to classified briefings, today marked the first time Biden received one in nearly 4 years.
It could have something related to a recent terrorist threat or engagements with China and Russia, maybe North Korea nuclear developments.
He received the briefing at his home outside Wilmington, where he spent the day out of sight, recovering from a weekend foot injury that aides say he received while playing with his dog Major. His doctor says Biden will have a walking boot for several weeks to treat the hairline fracture.
That's Jeff Rizzolini reporting. Jeff, thank you. Officials say Biden and Harris will formally introduce their economic team in Wilmington, Delaware sometime today. Well, it's a day that's way better than a kick in the pants. It's more like a pie in the face. Yep, today's National Pie Day. It's actually the second one of the year, believe it or not. The first and most popular one is celebrated on January 23rd. There's also that math-themed Pie Day, spelled P-I without the E. Well, this National Pie Day comes in the middle of pie-making season. You probably had one last week. It's been described as the reminder of Americans' pie heritage and expression of the nation's love affair with the treats. Now, some ways to celebrate: you could host a pie party, listen to the 80s hair band's Warrant song Cherry Pie, and post your pie creations or check out others on social media with the hashtag National Pie Day. Yummy. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now as we make our way through a pretty interesting winter storm. Here's a live look over downtown Jamestown right now, and it's a little dark, a little blustery. Let's get to Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter, who's live for us in the First Defense Weather Center. Mr. Hunter, this morning, it was almost not very impressive. I woke up, I really didn't have snow on my driveway, snow on the roads, but I hear things will be getting a little different as we head throughout the afternoon and evening.
Yes, things are going to be getting a lot more different out there, and the snow is going to be picking up from basically south to north today. Let's take a look at this. The official data, as I told you yesterday, the official data for the month of November would have came in today, and there it is for you. 43.4 is our average temperature, 4.5 degrees above average, so that means November 2020 is the 11th warmest November on record here in the city of Jamestown. So just some interesting data for you. Now, let's get into the big elephant in the room. Winter storm warnings basically stay in place for much of the southern tier in northwestern Pennsylvania, expire a little bit early, 1 o'clock for the southern tier tomorrow, and noon for Warren County tomorrow. So the snow is not over, and you can see it here on First Defense Doppler. Now, the snow is actually kind of breaking apart a little bit because we have a little bit of wind shear coming in. So again, it's not steady state kind of snow, and it's not even all that heavy right now, but the snow will be picking up in intensity as we go throughout the day, and especially tonight. And the good news is we don't have thunder snow, as we don't have any lightning strikes being detected right now. But as I showed you earlier, all the snow around the region is going in a counterclockwise circle. Why is that? Because the low pressure area has moved way up into central New York, and there it is there. So low pressure spins counterclockwise. Because of that, we're getting wrapped up in the flow around the low. So that's the reason why the snow showers are moving in a counterclockwise circle. Isn't it cool? Yeah. Weather's amazing. All right, here we go with FutureScan. Newest run of the in-house model shows you the widespread snow. It's basically going to be continuing through the day today. And notice this dark blue strip right here. This is actually added lake enhancement, and this is going to go pure lake effect as we go overnight tonight and then through the day tomorrow. So the widespread snow is going to taper off. Then it turns into lake effect where you see the darker blues. That indicates the heavier amounts of snowfall. And then by the time we go into Wednesday afternoon, the widespread snow pulls away, and then the lake effect will also come to an end as well. So the afternoon tomorrow will likely be a little bit better, but we still could see a few scattered snow showers at times. So here's the updated snowfall projections going all the way through tomorrow afternoon. Again, this dark pink strip right here could be 8 to 10 inches, and that actually might be a bit underestimated. You could see upwards of 11 inches, maybe even a solid foot additional on top of what you already have there. 7 to 10 inches in the light pink strip, 4 to 6 inches what you work out further eastward, 2 to 4 inches out towards Olean, and 4 to 6 from Warren further to the south. So again, the highest total of accumulation will likely be along the highest terrain. The lowest terrain could see around 5 to 7 inches. So again, your total is going to vary depending on your location. Don't always focus on this highest number, and don't send emails to the weather department thinking, oh, Dakota and Andrew, no. Focus on the lower number, not the highest number. The highest number is mainly for the hills. It's a range for a reason. 31 at the airport right now, west wind to 14, wind gust to 21, and fog still out there with 1.75 mile visibility. So Metrocast through the afternoon, 32 at 2 o'clock today. The snow is going to continue. Expect snow to continue 6 o'clock, 31. Temperatures not dipping off too much tonight, 30 by 10 o'clock, and the snow will continue. Now, the next 7 days of your life, brought to you by 42 Degrees and Sunny. 33 tomorrow, 38 on Thursday. A better day. The sun will be back. Friday, a few mixed rain and snow showers, 35. Saturday, 38. And mixed rain and snow showers will continue until early next week with temperatures hanging out in the 30s. Jay Gould.
Wow, Dakota, thank you. Well, the pandemic has taken a toll on many things in our lives, and the American Red Cross now says it's impacting blood supplies even more, too. As the holidays approach, the organization says there's a critical need. Mandy Gaither has more on how you can help in today's Health Minute.
We are very concerned.
The holidays are always hard on blood donations, but now even more.
Yes, people need to take care of themselves, be safe, be socially distant from one another, but giving blood is an essential activity, and we need people to respond now.
Paul Sullivan with the American Red Cross says blood supplies are low, with more than 100,000 blood drives canceled since the pandemic started. While some have been replaced, it's been challenging.
Where we would normally collect blood in terms of schools, places of worship, community centers, some of those locations are not currently operating or obviously not bringing together the same numbers of people.
Coronavirus convalescent plasma is also now being collected by the Red Cross. That's the antibodies from someone recovering from COVID-19 that can be used to help someone else who's battling it.
The blood program has only become more important at a time where it's more challenging to get people to come out.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mandy, thank you. The Red Cross says they're taking every precaution to keep blood drives safe, including temperature checks, health questionnaires, and even more cleaning than before. They're also urging people to make appointments. You can find a list of blood drives in our area by visiting redcrossblood.org. It's redcrossblood.org. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now as we get our first taste of winter out there across our area. Let us know if you were shoveled out this morning, or maybe you're shoveling out right now. We probably could be as we head into the afternoon. Great to see Lori. Good to see Tom, Karen, Eb, Dave, and Melissa as well. Hopefully everyone is having a great day out there. That's going to do it for us today. Of course, we remind you news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We'll leave you with this live look over Chautauqua Lake, and boy, does it look nasty. Whew.
Are you listening?
Oh, is it the singing weatherman again? Are you back?
Oh, boy.
Do you remember the singing chef? Real quick. Do you
No,
remember
I don't.
No, you don't? We had a commercial on here with the singing chef. They should
I
bring
don't
that
remember
guy
that.
back. They really should. Well, that's it.
Well, yeah.
Oh, they're telling me I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here.
The rapping
Let's get out of
weatherman,
here.
yes.
I'm surprised they cut back to me. Stay safe, stay warm.